Welcome to the Alumni Lounge. On today's episode, I've got Sean Murphy, an account manager at Blackbox.
Hi, I'm Sean Murphy, class of 2013, and I'm a national account manager for Blackbox in their AV department. Craziest thing was I came from a tiny Catholic school in LaGrange. Ended up going to COD for a little bit, ended up just going into sales. I love doing the TV because it kind of lets me be a little goofy with something that I love to do. And it's cool because you get to sharpen your skills.
Sean Murphy.
David.
How's it going?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So, how was your LT experience? And what do you remember about being at LT?
LT experience was awesome. Craziest thing was I came from a tiny Catholic school in LaGrange, St. Francis. So I went from having about 70 kids in my whole grade to having about like 1,000. So just having all the crazy amounts of kids being there and just all different types of stuff going on. And then obviously played sports in the first half of the couple years of high school. So going to a basketball practice that had 35 kids at it and playing volleyball and stuff like that. And then just getting opportunities like getting to do TV club as a freshman. That was sweet.
Explain a little bit about your relationship with Johnny Lombardi.
Yeah. So Johnny is LTTV for me. He was basically the gateway in. Like I said earlier, we grew up around each other. So played baseball, Little League baseball together, played some street hockey together, lived down the street. Our moms knew each other. We were relatively close, kind of like Irish twins from different mothers, because he's just a couple months older than me. But yeah, he reached out and he was like, he told his mom, like, to talk to my mom, like, hey, when he gets here, make sure he tries this. And obviously, he went on to have 4 years of running the show, basically from freshman to senior year. He was in charge of the announcers. And obviously he's transitioned. He went into the industry. He was able to get some stuff going. He knew all the older guys. He knew how to just have words when I'm voice cracking and screeching. Yeah, and it was him and I were really tight through high school. Obviously he went away and kind of went our separate ways, but we do still see each other when he comes back from New Orleans, and that's one thing we got to get more air of is that drawl he's picked up. It's beautiful. It's but yeah, him and I were tight throughout the whole process. He was always keeping me in check, making sure I didn't voice crack too much, didn't get too excited. Kind of like big brother for me, honestly. And
now that you're talking about all that, I have to try and see if I can get. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Anfield? I don't know if you.
Was Chris?
No, Eric Anfield. He's the same age as me. He was the one that kind of mentored Johnny.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I remember them because there was another person that was. There was another person that I was thinking of, but I remember him talking about that. And
I should see if I could get him to talk about some stuff. That would be fun.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you remember his mentor is David Bennett.
I think that's who Johnny would always talk about.
Yeah.
So Johnny. Shame on me for not knowing the history. I was like the kid who came into Alabama and was like, "Who's Derrick Henry?" Like, I'm just here to do this thing, but. No, I remember Johnny always knew the lineage and the history of it because LTTV's been around way longer than I had realized. I thought it was more of a newer thing, but no, it was very established before me, and I'm just a small.
See my nice picture.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm just a small thing. I was just a color guy as a part of this. But yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things about it is you're part of a little bit of a fraternity when you do it. Like everybody's involved with it. When I still remember a lot of the people, I haven't talked to them in a while, but I remember like if I ever saw their name come up for a job or the opportunity to work with them, I'd be like, absolutely work with that person. They're phenomenal. I've seen them work in a professional setting. So that's one other thing you can mark down for positives.
Where did you go to college?
So I did about a year of college at DuPage. Then school just didn't jive with me, so I ended up getting doing a little bit of work in sales. So I kind of just transitioned right into work.
Weren't you saying that you went to the broadcasting thing or no?
Yeah, so I did go to like the Illinois Center for Broadcasting School. I auditioned. They were pretty impressed. They were like, you could definitely move forward with this. Just ended up going to COD for a little bit, and then just kind of got away from it a little bit more. So ended up just going into sales. So now I entertain people from
And you're at?
I'm at Black Box right now. So
And what kind of stuff do they do?
so right now they do AV equipment. So a lot of cables and connectivity, but we also do broadcast media.
There you go.
So yeah,
all
I'm
coming full
I'm
circle.
selling it. Do you need some? Yeah. So that was one of the first things when I took the job. A couple of the jobs I've had before have been in tech, but this was kind of hit a chord when they said some of the customer lists and what they do, and it was just awesome. And then the woman who actually just specifically focuses on the segment is local to Illinois, so we got to meet up and kind of talk about it and just be like, this is I love
great.
this stuff. It's cool, the control room and stuff. So
That's
yeah,
great.
so it did end up kind of coming full circle for me. I ended up in a spot where I'm utilizing it a little bit more than I thought I would.
Let's talk about the blackout game.
Oh, of course. We couldn't get away from my childhood voice crack, right?
How explain that kind of that lead up and that
Yes.
like you from your perspective.
So I mean, I'm 13 years old, and at that point, I love doing the TV because it kind of lets me be a little goofy with something that I love to do and kind of the entertaining side. And I was a fan at that point. I mean, I know everybody's made fun of me. I have no idea what I said to this point, so I know.
Well, according to Connor Onion, you said something like "Holy Criolas."
I've listened to the video a couple times, and that something along the lines of that. And I can tell you that my voice has dropped about 5 octaves. I'm closer to a baritone now. But I mean, just it was live sports at that stage in the game, like just that happening and where my mind's at, the magnitude of the game, because the buildup was incredible. Like that team was one of the best teams in high school basketball at the time, and then just for LT records, like that was it. And just absolutely like a crazy event. And yeah, it's going to be cliche, but I definitely blacked out when I said that. And every time I watch it, and like I've shown it to a couple of my friends and like later, and they're just like, what was that? Like, what are you saying? And I'm like, don't even ask me. Like, it was a full blown blackout on 2 levels. And then just kind of like the coolest part about that was we're talking about a high school basketball game that had a couple thousand people there. Like the student section, LT has that sweet gym. It's like bigger than a lot of Division III gyms. So having that amount of people with that amount of pressure on that game, and then having Dan just take care of business and steal it and make a what does Johnny call it, a storybook?
Storybook.
Ink the storybook. So yeah, I mean that whole event was cool, and just it was well set up too, like just kind of one of those things that was organized well before. I think we used Facebook then still, so Facebook group message.
The high school cube, you remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So just, I mean, it's just thinking about that, like, I think I took it for granted a little bit, just how cool that moment was.
Yeah. And then, I mean, like back then, like there was not really like social media like it is now.
No,
Like, could you imagine like if,
oh my God, like, I think Johnny said something about it, like, could you imagine if they had done that now with the capabilities we have to like reach out to that many people? Like, pretty sure Dan Lalonde's D1 basketball player at that point. he's getting a scholarship somewhere, going viral on ESPN or something. But no, I mean it basically kind of set the stage, because for years after that event was circled on the calendar for our school, and then other schools got mad and would come in and be like, they definitely tried to reciprocate it and try to copy it. So unreal event, and just like the way it happened was just perfect. And then it led into the next year where that team was specifically just really good. So LT basketball's always been good, but that team was perfect. It was a storybook.
What are your memories about the all school assembly?
having 6,000 kids packed into a gym. um, I ended up doing a little bit of best buddies. So I remember the basketball game being the highlight, and
Mm-hmm.
working in best buddies a little bit and kind of understanding how much that meant to them, the kids who were in the program. Getting that was something that was circled, like we practiced for the all school assembly. I remember that, doing that for the Special Olympics basketball, and it really speaks to the maturity and community of the LT alumni and just like current students. Being able to give the opportunity to prop up and help kind of showcase something that's so awesome, and just kind of speaking to the great people that are part of the student body. It's really cool. And then, I mean, just now I'm thinking about it, just orchestrating how to have that many kids
Yeah.
stay under control for that long, because they were a couple hours long. So that was one thing about LT. Nothing ever was fast because you just had so many kids. It's a numbers game. But yeah, I think the basketball game would be one of the things I remember.
How was it working with Bill?
Amazing, guys top notch. It was cool to work with a guy who is older than me but has the same, like, I don't want to say like childish enthusiasm, but like that pure love of what he was doing. It was cool because I've heard and I've seen some of my guys talk about who end up going into the TV industry, kind of how difficult it is, and then I see it from the professional production side when we go in to talk to customers. It does kind of grind you out. It's a very stressful job. You do a lot of you do have to put up with a lot of stuff, and he always came in with the enthusiasm of like, it was like the first time we're doing something, like super excited, always had kind of like a pop to him, a little bounce, just doing his thing. And it kind of felt like a big brother type deal. Like if Johnny was my big brother, that was my biggest brother, Bill. And the way he was able to get, I mean, right now I have two kids, and Lord help me if I can try to corral him. He's corralling a bunch of teenagers, and getting them to focus on stuff like that. I still remember the limited amount of times that we had a camera guy go rogue when they were moving around was incredible, and the few times that we had little slip ups with like the cuts of between the systems. That's like, I think, the craziest part. Like he would just show up and it would just run perfectly, and everyone would be pumped about it. And I don't think anyone, we had like a very diverse group of students. So we kind of got all levels of high school. Like obviously the announcers, we saw a little bit of like there's a couple athletes, and then we had some more of the techie kids, and then like just the whole group, he got it to blend in. So he's got that magic touch.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody that maybe like wants to pursue an announcing, like, you know, like someone in high school that's announcing?
Yeah. I would learn the production side. That was one thing that I wish I had done. Just I saw Johnny do it, and kind of like we were talking before, we were so strong in people to do editing and
Oh yeah.
on that side, like with Dan White and Eric Donomeyer. I remember him being in here, Camille, Seamus. They all did such a good job. I wish I would have kind of drafted in that and learned that to an extent. But as far as announcing, I mean, just do it. It's super fun. There's not really expectations. Like there is the expectation of doing a professional job, but
It's a practice. Like,
yeah, you get to learn how to do it. And I think that was one of the things I was, like I said, I came from a smaller school. So confidence when I walked into LT was like, whoa, got a little bit of the Bambi eyes, like, oh my God, this is huge. And it's cool because you get the opportunity to get feedback too. Like I remember some of the parents coming up to me and being like, hey, like we love listening to you. And just with LTTV, the reach that they have, having an actual channel locally, it's you get all that experience. So as far as announcing going, I would do it. I think it's super fun. I would try to do every aspect of it. I think we introduced sideline reporting, which was Like,
Yeah.
now, when we did it, I was like, oh, this is no big deal. I see this on TV. And then I was like,
When you actually do it, you're like,
yeah, you're like,
gotta-
whoa, this is way harder and more complex than you think. And now, like, kind of like you said, reversing it out to like when we work with stuff like that, like, oh my goodness, the amount of things that go into making sure that that goes right, while also hitting that window of it being live TV. It's cool because you get to sharpen your skills. So it allows me to feel confident making a mistake, misspeaking sometimes, but just being direct with what I'm trying to say. So
yeah.
we did election coverage, which
Yeah.
was, I remember I was like steering clear of the studio. I was like, nope, not getting involved with that, because that was, I remember, was I think Seamus and Camille were in charge of that, and they were
Lizzie too.
yes. So it was a little tense. It was because it was very not the political side, just the like, hey, the way we want to cover this and the length it's going to get covered for was really cool.
I think that was the 2012, right?
I think because we were 13 grads, so it was. I knew it was one of our junior senior year, but I remember that being like, just our coverage of that was crazy, and I think that was like the first couple times we used the green screen.
Oh yeah, with the virtual sets and everything.
Yeah, because I remember them doing the desk, and they were like sitting there, and they're like, "Is it covering it? Is it covering it?" And I was like, "All right, I need to get out of here because I'm gonna get in the way or something." But yeah, I think that was just that's so cool. Like
With Dan White at behind the switcher.
of course, DJ Master Dan White just move between. I thought that guy was an octopus with 2 extra arms up there working it.
Well, Sean, thanks for coming out on the Alumni Lounge.
Absolutely. It's great to see you.
Great to see you too. We'll see you next time on the Alumni Lounge, where stories collide and memories reside. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, consider liking and subscribing to the Alumni Lounge, where stories collide and memories reside.